Welcome to Archive Vault, where we explore declassified records, hidden histories, and state-level investigations. Please note, some illustrative narration is AI-generated for storytelling purposes. All content is educational and documentary-based. For more than 5 centuries, a single image has haunted the imagination of the world. Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, a moment frozen in paint, yet alive with mystery. Each brushstroke, each shadow, each line carries a story, some known, others whispered across time. Long before Leonardo put brush to wall, pilgrims walked the stones of a room that many believed to be the site of Christ's final meal. Hidden within its ancient walls are names and dates, etched by hands seeking remembrance. Coats of arms, signatures, even tiny sketches carved into the stone. Echoes of devotion from centuries past. One reads simply, Christmas 1300. A fleeting mark, yet a direct connection to those who came long before us, drawn by faith and wonder. And then, in Milan, Leonardo worked. He arranged 12 apostles, not randomly, but with careful precision. Groups of 3, triangles in symmetry, guiding the eye to the calm, central figure of Christ. Behind him, 3 windows catch the light, the Trinity framed in stone and air. Every line, every gesture, every space tells a story of harmony, balance, and divine proportion. But the story does not end there. Over time, viewers began to notice subtle patterns. Some suggest that the positions of hands and loaves of bread hint at a melody, a short song hidden in plain sight. Whether true or imagined, it speaks to the enduring fascination of Leonardo's mind, a mind that sought to blend art, science, and music into a single composition. Now, in the age of technology, a new set of eyes examines the painting. Artificial intelligence scans every pixel, tracing underdrawings, subtle brushstrokes, and abandoned sketches invisible to the human eye. It maps geometry, analyzes figures, and reveals layers long hidden. Yet despite claims swirling online, AI has not uncovered secret texts or hidden messages. What it does reveal is the precision, the thought, and the genius woven into every detail. From the etched stones of Jerusalem to the painted walls of Milan, from human hands to the lens of modern machines, the Last Supper continues to speak. Its story is one of devotion, curiosity, and brilliance. And as we take the first steps into its secrets, we find that even centuries later, Leonardo's masterpiece has the power to make us lean closer, look longer, and wonder anew. For centuries, the Last Supper has been more than a painting. It has been a puzzle, a whisper of secrets, a canvas where fact and imagination collide. As people studied it, stories began to grow, some rooted in history, others in desire, curiosity, and even obsession. One of the oldest whispers surrounds the figure seated to Christ's right. Some claim it is Mary Magdalene, a suggestion that has fueled books, films, and heated debates. Yet the careful study of art historians tells a different story. This figure is John, the beloved disciple, depicted with the grace and delicacy customary in Renaissance art. What began as speculation became legend, a modern myth projected onto a centuries-old masterpiece. Then there are the tales of hidden codes, secret chalices, bloodlines, or cryptic messages whispered into the painting's geometry. Some insist that Leonardo, a man fascinated by mathematics, proportion, and science, embedded messages only the cleverest could decode. But despite these claims, no verifiable evidence has ever emerged. These stories endure not because they are true, but because they are irresistible, a testament to the human desire to find mystery where genius already resides. In our time, technology joins the search. Artificial intelligence scans every line, every brushstroke, every shadow. Deep learning algorithms map the figures, analyze proportions, and even detect underdrawings hidden beneath centuries of paint and restoration. AI reveals Leonardo's process, showing where he adjusted angles, moved hands, or refined gestures. It uncovers abandoned sketches that hint at the painting that might have been. Yet even AI, with all its power, has its limits. Claims that it has decoded secret messages, revealed hidden languages, or uncovered conspiracies are just that, claims. Viral videos and online speculation have made these narratives popular, but they remain unverified. What AI does reliably is illuminate the brilliance of Leonardo's choices and the precision of his craft. It helps us see not what Leonardo intended to hide, but what he intended to create. These myths and modern technologies intersect in fascinating ways. The painting becomes both a mirror and a lens, a mirror reflecting our endless appetite for secrets, and a lens revealing the depth of human genius. Each speculation, each analysis, each AI study adds another layer to the story, making The Last Supper not just a painting, but a living puzzle, one that continues to invite us to look closer, to wonder, and to imagine. And so, the mystery deepens. What we know and what we believe intertwine, forming a narrative as rich and layered as Leonardo's own composition. The story of The Last Supper is not confined to its walls. It lives in our curiosity, in our search for meaning, and in the eternal dance between art and the human mind. To understand The Last Supper, one must look beyond what survives today, because what we see now is only a fraction of what Leonardo originally created. Unlike fresco masters before him, Leonardo experimented. He painted on dry plaster, layering tempera and oil in pursuit of detail, light and realism no wall painting had ever achieved. But the experiment failed. Within years, the image began to decay. Moisture crept in, paint flaked away, faces faded. What was meant to last centuries began to vanish within decades. What followed was not preservation, but survival. Over time, The Last Supper was scraped, repainted, patched, and altered. Each restoration reflected the beliefs and limitations of its era. Some restorers painted directly over Leonardo's work. Others guessed at missing details. By the 20th century, historians realized something unsettling. Much of what people admired was no longer Leonardo at all. Then came a turning point. Modern conservation stripped away centuries of additions, revealing what remained of the original surface. Fragile, fragmented, but authentic. Beneath layers of damage and repair, faint traces of Leonardo's hand re-emerged. Subtle shadows, delicate gestures, abandoned outlines. This is where technology entered the story. High-resolution imaging, infrared scanning, and later artificial intelligence began mapping the painting in ways the human eye never could. AI did not read messages. It did not decode language. Instead, it traced structure. It compared patterns. It identified underdrawings, ghost images of ideas Leonardo changed or abandoned mid-creation. Hands repositioned, faces refined, gestures softened. The machine revealed hesitation, correction, and intention, the marks of a living mind at work. For the first time, scholars could see how Leonardo thought, not just what he painted. AI mapped symmetry and imbalance, showing how the calm of Christ contrasts with the shock rippling outward through the apostles. It revealed how motion flows left and right, how tension builds, how silence sits at the center. Not secrets, but design. And perhaps the most revealing discovery was this. There is no single hidden layer waiting to be decoded, no concealed text, no encrypted confession. What lies beneath is far more human. Doubt, revision, precision, genius. The Last Supper is not a puzzle box hiding answers. It is a record of creation itself, of a mind pushing against limits, risking failure in pursuit of something greater. What technology has uncovered is not a conspiracy, but a truth more profound. The masterpiece was never finished in certainty. It was built through trial, error, and relentless curiosity. And in that sense, the painting mirrors us. Because the more deeply we look, the more we realize. The mystery was never hidden in symbols. It was hidden in the process. And still, one question remains. If nothing was meant to be hidden, why does the world continue to search? Even after centuries of study, even after restoration, scholarship, and technology, the myths remain. The question is no longer what is hidden in the Last Supper, but why the world insists that something must be. Human beings are not satisfied with mastery alone. We search for intention beyond skill, for secrets beyond beauty. When confronted with genius, we assume there must be more. Something withheld, something concealed, something only a few are meant to understand. The Last Supper became the perfect canvas for this impulse. It sits at the intersection of faith and doubt, religion and power, silence and betrayal. A moment charged with tension, one man announcing treachery, 12 others reacting in shock. It is not peace that Leonardo painted, it is disruption. And disruption invites interpretation. Over time, the painting stopped being seen as an artwork and began to function as a mirror. Each era projected its anxieties onto it. In times of religious authority, people searched for divine order. In times of rebellion, they searched for suppressed truths. In the modern age, they search for conspiracies. The idea that Leonardo hid forbidden knowledge is not born from evidence. It is born from mistrust. Mistrust of institutions, mistrust of official stories, mistrust of anything too powerful to be simple. This is where myth becomes more influential than fact. Once a story enters popular culture, repetition gives it weight. Books repeat it, films dramatize it, algorithms amplify it. Eventually, the myth feels older than the truth, even when it is not. Artificial intelligence now plays an unexpected role in this cycle. AI, meant to clarify, is often used to persuade. A heat map becomes a revelation. A pattern becomes a code. A probability becomes a proof. The technology does not lie, but the narrative built around it often does. And yet the fascination persists because it fulfills something deeper. The Last Supper represents the fear that truth is always partial, that history is edited, that meaning is controlled by those who record it. Whether or not Leonardo intended secrets, the painting became a symbol of withheld knowledge, not because of what it contains, but because of what humanity believes about power. In this way, the myths surrounding the Last Supper tell us less about Leonardo and more about ourselves. We do not fear that nothing is hidden. We fear that something important once was. And so the image endures, not as a solved mystery, but as an open wound in human curiosity. A reminder that when certainty fades, stories rush in to take its place. Only one final question remains. When the myths are stripped away, what are we left with? When the myths are stripped away, when speculation is quieted, what remains is not disappointment. What remains is clarity. Leonardo da Vinci did not hide a secret gospel inside the Last Supper. He did not encode forbidden bloodlines, encrypted messages, or concealed doctrines. No credible document, no contemporaneous account, no technical analysis supports such claims. What he did create was something far more enduring. The Last Supper captures a psychological moment, the instant trust fractures. A sentence has just been spoken. One of you will betray me. What follows is not chaos, but human reaction. Shock, denial, anger, fear, silence. Leonardo arranged these responses with precision. Each apostle reacts differently, yet all reactions flow outward from the same center. Christ remains still, not because he is detached, but because the storm has already passed through him. This is not a coded message. It is emotional intelligence rendered in paint. Modern technology, including artificial intelligence, confirms this rather than contradicts it. AI analysis reveals planning, revision, balance, and intentional imperfection. It shows us a mind-adjusting composition to heighten tension, to guide the eye, to tell a story without words. The underdrawings reveal hesitation. The changes reveal thought. The symmetry reveals control. And the decay, the fragility of the surface, reveals something even more important. The Last Supper was never meant to be eternal. Leonardo chose experimentation over permanence, expression over durability. He accepted failure as the price of innovation. The painting deteriorated because he pushed beyond what was safe. That decision mirrors the content of the scene itself: risk, sacrifice, an irreversible choice. The illusion is the belief that truth must be hidden to be powerful. The reality is that truth is often visible, but uncomfortable. The Last Supper endures not because it conceals secrets, but because it exposes something universal. The moment when certainty collapses and human nature is revealed. That is why myths formed around it. That is why conspiracies cling to it. That is why each generation returns to it with new tools, new fears, and new questions. Not because Leonardo hid something from us, but because he showed us something about ourselves. And that is the final revelation. Not a code, not a secret, but a mirror. Thank you for listening to Archive Vault Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive and found it insightful. Wishing you a great week ahead, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. We'll be back soon with more stories from the archives. See you next time.